So, first off, thanks you two for you know allowing me to do this interview. I won't take your shine, so I'll pass it off to you two so you can give a brief introduction about yourself and what you do, and then we'll get started on the interview.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first off, my name is Raquel. This is
I'm Brendan.
Brendan. We recently got married. I go to ASU, my senior year, and
I'm currently in the Navy.
Navy. Yeah, I go to ASU. I'm in ROTC, and we recently just bought our house that we're in.
Yep.
Awesome, congrats you two. So, Brendan, how long have you been in the Navy?
A little over 2.5 years now.
Awesome, congrats. What's your, I guess your profession? Like, what is your job?
I'm a rescue swimmer.
Nice. Could you give a brief explanation of like kind of what that is and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a crewman in the back of a 60 Sierra helicopter. We are search and rescue capable, but we also work a lot of Navy's logistics. So transporting personnel and cargo, mail, as well as a lot of tactic missions. And yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. So Raquel, you recently just completed Officer Candidate School. Do you kind of want to go over that and how that experience was?
Yeah. So it was 6 weeks at Officer Candidate School. This year was a little bit different. We had a week of, well, they cut a week out of the 6 weeks and then added a quarantine week for COVID and all of that. So that was a bit interesting. There were a little bit of changes as far as like how they ran things. Like some events were taken out and we had to wear masks and all that stuff. But it was really good. It went well. I'm glad that I have that under my belt. And can move on to the next TBS. Yeah.
Awesome. So you two are definitely deep in the military experience. So where do you think, that spawned from? We'll start with Brendan.
What made me join the military?
Yes.
Just patriotic reasons. I just wanted to serve my country, set myself up for my future, and pretty much go from there.
I don't really know how to exactly answer this. I always say it's just like a calling that I've had, like a desire to join specifically the Marine Corps. Actually, yeah, it does start when I was 14 and I went to this like youth leadership camp. It was a 10-day long thing called Devil Pups, and it's like a leadership thing for young adults or teens. And then once I completed that, I knew like my heart was set on the Marine Corps. And my dad, he's a Marine, so that I think is where the fire started. But yeah, I've always wanted to be a Marine. And then I wanted to enlist, and my mom wouldn't let me because I wasn't 18 and she wouldn't sign my papers. And she wanted me to go to college. So then I figured out, oh, there's an ROTC thing. So then I figured that out, and now that's the route I'm going.
Awesome. So for both of you, how do you think like this experience with the military kind of has shaped you and your personal development? Like, do you feel different after you experienced OCS or joined the Navy from what you were before?
I mean, yes, definitely. I would say in like a lot of different ways, in maturity, like leadership. We've had a lot of like not encampments, but like trainings in the summer that have really helped me grow, and just like the builds that we have in ROTC, dealing with certain situations and different people, being able to like speak in front of people, how I view certain things and things like that. And just, I think it's really given me a deeper love for like the country and a greater appreciation for what actually goes on, because beforehand I like just thought I knew like certain things from what I heard, but getting to experience that is totally different, and seeing how many roles play into like one mission, just seeing how it all works has given me a greater appreciation, I think, too.
Yeah, and ever since I joined, I wouldn't say it's changed me, but it comes with age too, just maturing as you get older. But also, since I've joined, you're so open to so many different people's backgrounds of how they grew up and how you grew up, and you realize you probably had it worse or better, whatever. You just get it than other people, but you understand. We're all American, and it's nice to see or hear about how other people grew up compared to how you grew up.
For sure. So if there was one thing you'd like to, let people take away about, the military to help them if they're aspiring to join the military or anything like that, what would you tell them?
I would say do it. It's one of the best things in my life so far, and I haven't even really started. So, yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity to grow as a person, to make a lot of relationships and connections, and it just like betters you and it helps you better others. Yeah, it's all good things besides the small little sucks once in a while.
I'd speak probably more on the enlisted side. It sucks at first. You do a lot of cleaning and you do a lot of humbling work. If you're enlisting as an older dude, you're probably going to be really tired of it, of all the work with 18 and 19-year-olds. But I definitely encourage it. I'd probably recommend maybe going the officer route, but enlisting is definitely not a bad idea because obviously you get to travel, you get to meet new people, and you get a lot of benefits, but I wouldn't say that's a good, the main reason why you should join. You should join because you want to. But it's definitely a good fallback. You get out of high school, a lot of people have all these plans for college, but life will hit you and you probably won't have the money for it or a job and you're struggling. There's no problem with, join the military, do your 4 years and pick yourself up.
On that note, I would say that one of the biggest things I would hope people would consider before joining is if you're just doing it for the benefits, it will be a harder time for you, I think. Not saying that, you won't learn to love it or grow and appreciate certain things, but I feel like it's a harder time if you're just doing it for your benefit versus if you want to serve your country and those benefits are just an added thing or yeah.
For sure. Thanks for sharing that. So now we're gonna get on a topic that everyone's been waiting for is the real estate. So you two are, I would say, fairly young, young adults. So it was very shocking, for not only me but for some to see that you took the big step, the big leap, and got a house. So I remember that day. I can't remember if I was in the wardroom or something, just hanging out, and then you came over and started asking me about real estate, and I was like, man, this is awesome. If she's already thinking about real estate, she's gonna make it far. So, you know, if you had to share, what made you gravitate towards real estate, the both of you?
For me, it was never in my mind until she mentioned it. So I just she explained, her parents kind of explained how it works, and I was like, all right, I'll listen to you guys and do it.
Very simple. My parents, they were real estate investors. They owned a lot of properties when I was younger, and I kind of remember small glimpses of traveling with them, viewing houses and properties, and they were my dad was a speaker at WLG and stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily say that sparked my interest. It's kind of just what I grew up with. And during the market crash, they lost all their houses and they struggled because they made certain mistakes. But it was never something besides those small memories that I grew up that they taught me until I would say I was older, and I would hear my dad say, if you want to set yourself up well, you should look into real estate. And he would kind of put it in my ear. And that's what kind of just over time was in my mind. And then just wanting to be well off when I'm older and not have to work or not be dependent on that. I kind of drew back to my dad and relearned why is it a good option and how to make money work for me and not work for money. So yeah.
For sure, that's awesome. So you kind of got the real estate bug, and then it kind of grew bigger and bigger, and then your significant other was just there for the ride. Hey, nothing wrong with that. So
Yeah.
so next is like how did you prepare yourself? There's always this fear around buying a house. How did you prepare yourself, educate yourself, and kind of like walk us through the steps from, you know, this coming together and saying, "Hey, we're gonna get this house," to just before purchasing the house and closing on the house.
Like the first step was obviously having the money aside, to excuse me, to either fix up the house or paying closing costs or whatever problems that the house will have eventually. I feel like that's the biggest thing, and we were fortunate enough that I I mean we had a lot of stuff canceled on us. Like we had our wedding canceled on us, our honeymoon. So fortunately, like we were able to get a lot of that money back, and I feel like God really guided us into buying this house. But my deployment and my bonus money definitely helped.
Like saving for it. But
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, my parents, they taught us a lot about money and how to save and when I was little, we had 3 different formula cans and we got to put a label on it and design it. And we put one for tithing, savings, and investing. So ever since I was little, we would go to the store. They would help me calculate if I bought this box of candy, how much can I sell it for? Like making Jolly Rancher suckers and selling it at school and like making that profit. And then with what I got, like figuring out how to put in my cans and divide it up and stuff. So that has always kind of been in my mind of like financial strategizing. And then getting into college, just the different things that come with it, like the different finances that you have and dealing with like books and stuff. So I think just the opportunities to really practice and like figure out my money and focus on it, and make plans, kind of set my mind up. And then we knew we wanted to do real estate. So like reading books, I remember one time we went to Yuma and we were in the same van and I had the Rich Dad Poor Dad book and you were asking about the book. So like listening to podcasts about that and kind of learning how it works, because I don't just want to jump into something I wasn't really sure about, is the process that got us here. And then with the money that we had, we're like, okay, it's kind of time, let's look into it. And the Virginia houses are a lot cheaper than California, so we knew, and he's here, so we just started to look into it and it kind of just really flowed out for us. And
Yeah, I definitely feel for you guys on the whole situation and getting those things canceled like that. So, but the good thing you do the real estate right, you'll get to have plenty more honeymoons and vacations, no problem. Trust me. So,
Yeah.
next I would say, like, how did you guys, did you use the VA loan? I'm assuming, or no?
mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
what did you know about the VA loan, and then how did it help you in closing on the house?
Um, so I learned more. I've heard about the VA loan, but I learned more in my real estate class. I'm minoring in real estate. And that's really what started my wheels on it. So then I was like, we should look into it. So how we started with it, we were with Navy Fed. And so we were going to look for houses and wanted to start it up. So we called them and put in our application to see how much we can qualify for and go through the process. And that's what really got just like getting started with our mortgage officer. And she kind of guided us through like getting approved and then seeing how much we qualify for. And that's what led us to search for different pricings on houses and stuff.
And with the VA loan, I mean, really all I knew was that you get 0 down and we got to live in it. And that's what we're going to do.
For sure. I mean, you can't beat 0 down. And I try to tell people that all the time. There is nothing else out there that will allow you to purchase a home literally 0 money down. Of course, there's other things with that, like the funding fee. If you're, under 10% disability, you still have to pay like a VA funding fee. It's the way they kind of, you know, make sure that something is there, and the VA goes, hey, we'll cover this if anything happens. But other than that, the only options are FHA and then that's a 3.5 or however dependent, and then after that it's conventional where you're putting anything close to 20% or more down. So the VA loan is definitely a very good tool and resource to use. And then I remember earlier you were explaining to me that you guys are planning to house hack.
Mm-hmm. It's like having
Could you want to talk through that?
Yeah.
Yep. So when we were looking for houses originally, she was kind of talking in my ear saying, the perfect rental house is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, like in that ballpark. So
and up.
Yeah. And obviously in the military, working in the shop, some guys trying to get out of the barracks, looking for a place, or I have a roommate in an apartment right now. And I just kind of talked to some buddies. I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy a house. Are you willing to rent? And they're like, yeah. So then I knew I had 4 dudes or 3 dudes that wanted to rent a room. So I started looking at 4-bedroom houses, and then eventually this 5-bed house came into play and had a really good deal. So I jumped on it knowing that I could, have these 4 renters, and on top of having an extra room for if any of us have family come over. But yeah, charging them rent. It's kind of weird charging your friends rent. But I mean, you got to explain that it's more than just, hey, this is my mortgage, we got to split it. It's like, you guys got to understand that this is I guess a business in a way, and you're renting.
It is a business for sure. You're definitely right. You hit it on the hammer. It's a business. Why? Because you're going in a contract with them and they're going in a contract with you. So friendship and all that is great, but a business is a business.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of weird explaining, like, obviously they're my buddies. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my mortgage. Rent's going to be $500, and they're like, well, what if we get more guys in? Would our rent be lower? And it's like, well, you're renting the room. We're not sharing the house, so we're not sharing the mortgage. So that's kind of weird to explain, but eventually they understood it, and now, like, we're really setting ourselves up. Getting some renters in, help paying off our mortgage, and we don't got to pay much out of our own pocket. And that extra money will definitely get thrown back into the house to fix it up. And by the time we get out of here, it'll be pretty nice.
Yeah. Are you gonna say something?
No, you're good.
With house hacking, I didn't really know what it was, and so my dad was like, "Oh yeah," he sent me a podcast on it, and I listened to it, and that's exactly what we're doing. So Brandon just explained, but with this house, he found it when I was at OCS because we were searching before OCS, and no luck. We went to a few houses with a real estate agent.
The Arizona market is hot, ain't it?
Well,
it goes fast. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Virginia Beach. There's
it's also
like searching for a house was such a pain. I mean, you'd find the one, and you contact your agent, and they're like, "Yeah, it's already under contract." I'm like, "Well, it's been on the market for a day." They're like, "Yeah."
Yep. There's like 3 offers on it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of discouraging at first because I was all excited and like we found so many good houses, and then they were just like gone, and we're like, what the heck? But yeah, he found this house when I was gone, and he was saying like, oh yeah, I didn't find a house, and he surprised me with it. But the story with that is there was an older couple that lived here, and the husband had died, and so it was just the wife alone, and so she wanted to sell it. And it was originally at 320, and she wasn't going to go down, wasn't going to pay the closing costs. But my sister suggested that we wrote a letter. So I wrote a letter explaining like who we are, why we want to buy the house, and I put like a picture of our wedding, hit the emotions, and she really liked it, and she went down.
Yeah, she had the letter for a house that we wanted to get, but then since she was gone, she couldn't rewrite the letter, so I just kind of edited it a little bit, and then I sent in the letter, and the lady, she originally didn't want to pay closing, and I really doubt she wanted to go down in price, but she told me that as an anniversary gift and everything that's happened, she'll pay the closing cost, and then she accepted the 310 offer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are some hard balls you had to take, in this whole house buying process? What are some of the things that kind of kicked you in the face and how are you, resolving it?
Hmm.
Or has it been all fine and dandy so far?
I mean, I feel like the biggest hit in the face is there's no AC unit in this house. It's all AC. So to get a system, that's gonna hit us pretty hard. And then I'd say just being an old house. I mean, there's a lot of like. Seems like the couple that lived here before, they bought it in 1968 and didn't touch a thing after. So
For
yeah.
sure. Definitely take your time, when rehabbing and making it all nice and pretty. Like I was telling Raquel earlier in Facebook, don't get drained by the new house syndrome. Like, oh, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix that, I gotta fix this. Use that time to put in like sweat equity. Learn how to paint. Learn how to, change out light bulb. Learn how to put in hardware in the counters. It's a learning experience, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to make it look nice. You will save yourself so much labor cost just by learning and doing yourself, because there's so many videos out on YouTube and stuff like that. and and the same thing with anything with AC units, and roofs are going to be your biggest expense. And with that is just negotiating. you know if you find get two or three or four different bids, and then see if they're a viable contractor and they have a viable business and they have a viable product. And if that price seems reasonable, you go with that one. But don't just always go with like the cheapest thing, because most likely you'll get a cheap outcome, and now you gotta start all over again. So definitely there's gonna be some hiccups, but don't let that scare you for sure. Um, Next, I wanted to know
Yeah.
like what are your plans for this home? Like what is your first step?
And like why we bought it or where we want to go with it.
Yes, where you want to go with it?
So what we want to start buying a lot of houses over like the time that we're in the military and beyond. Just so like our main goal is so that they'll get paid off, and then when we're out of the military or whenever, we'll just have that monthly income so into our pockets, and then we can kind of either invest more or like live with like comfortably. So with this house, like he said, we have our tenants, and so we're gonna ride out the 2 years for the VA loan. He's gonna live in it, and then when he gets out or whatever happens, when I get stationed somewhere, we'll buy like another house to kind of just do that. And that's really the main goal. And right now, we're using some of the money that we got at closing and some of the money that we had from the wedding as well, to do like small repairs. So the carpet was a lighter carpet and like stained, so we like just got that done. We're painting today, that's why I look crazy, and we're redoing like the floorboards and stuff ourselves. So really putting money into it and sweat equity, so that way like the value goes up as well. So if we ever decide to sell it, it'll be a higher price, but ultimately we want to keep it and get that like paid off.
Awesome, awesome. So, was there like some real thought about like location, or did you kind of just find, something that looked nice just to get your foot in the door? Could you go through that process for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really set on Virginia Beach, just because of the area. I mean, it's a nice area compared to some of the other cities around us, like Norfolk, Virginia, or Suffolk, or I mean, if you'll know the area if you're here, but it is definitely that I guess middle class, higher middle class. So people in the military, there's like three bases here. There's going to be families that have the money. They just want to rent a house in a nice neighborhood. Maybe if they have a big family, this is a perfect spot because it's right in between all those bases, which is what we're looking for, along with not too far from like a downtown area to do, whatever. And then the beach isn't too far. So it's kind of in the middle of everything from work and then also doing your own thing outside of work.
Awesome. So, have you guys thought about, say, property management come time for you to leave, or you think you're gonna try to manage it on your own?
For the time being, managing it on our own until we move out, but that's something that I've been thinking about too, how to find like a property manager and go through that because when we're gone, we gotta figure that
For
out.
sure. So, how are you two continuing like educating yourself on real estate? I know you mentioned the podcast and reading the books, but like have you thought about going to any seminars and taking extra classes or anything like that?
I have no.
I mean, going through the like real estate minor, I'm still going through those classes, so that has been keeping me busy, and learning new things. And I'm barely getting to like into the depth of the classes right now, so that's been good. Podcasts and books, and then I would say more so like the experience that we're going through right now, and being forced to figure things out, and even with just like fixing the house, it's like okay, so how are we gonna do this, and searching and stuff. So like the practical application of things really is the biggest help in learning, I would say. Yeah.
Awesome. So there's gonna be a special part in this episode. Usually I just interview everybody and let them do their thing and then end it from there. But I wanted to see if you two had any questions for me about real estate or the VA loan that maybe you were wondering about that you haven't gotten an answer on or something like that.
You mean?
I really can't think of any right now. I mean, I'm so like I was caught up on looking for a house and fixing it. I haven't even thought of another house or like the stepping stone. So I don't even know what to ask.
I have a question. What is that? So you're a real estate you're an investor and an agent, right?
Yes, I'm a real estate investor, no longer an agent. I moved out of Arizona, but I still invest in real estate. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you've used your VA loan for all of your houses, or how is your process and how is
Yes.
that?
So the key to that is not for now when or at least when you commission, you'll also have your VA loan. So like you said, when you go to your next duty station, you plan to use yours, right? So
Yeah.
the good thing about it, especially for Brendan, is it works like entitlement. So say he has like 100% of VA loan, right? And after buying this house, he only used up 50% of it. So that means he can go out if he PCSs or anything like that, he can go and get another VA loan as long as the home will be covered by that 50% remaining entitlement. So you can have more than one VA loan. All that matters is you have entitlement left. So say he doesn't have entitlement left, but he has enough to cover some of the new home when he PCSs. Well, what they'll do is the VA loan, that 50% will cover that little bit of the new home that he's going to purchase. And then the rest of that, he'll just pay whatever the 20% on the remaining balance rather than the whole balance of the new home.
Mm.
Do you kind of
So
understand that?
yeah. So you don't need to. So I thought you had to like not sell, or maybe sell or just like pay off in full. So the VA loan is no longer there, and you have it again, and then you just relocate it. But you're saying we can like split it up.
Yes, so it's like I said, it works in entitlement. So after
Okay.
purchasing this house, if he only used 50% of his entitlement, then he still has 50% of his VA loan left that he can use. So essentially, like 1 year, I can move in a home, purchase it, using it a VA loan, and it only use up say 20%. Then I PCS to a new duty station. I use my VA loan again. It uses another 20%. Now I'm at 40% used, but I still have 60% left. And the way to replenish your entitlement is, like you said, you either have to sell the home or pay it off in full. So, say I use up 50% and I go to purchase a PCS, I move to the next house, and that 50% left of entitlement doesn't cover that second house. But I want the second house, and I'm willing to sell my first home to get it. So now you can sell that first home, you get all your entitlement back, and then now you have the full 100% to buy that new home that you want.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. It's like a never ending cycle of getting to.
Yes. So basically, yeah, you can basically every year, every time you PCS, get a new home, and then another way is if you built enough equity, you refinance into a conventional loan, so you get your VA loan back, and then you can just go and use it again, and you just build a portfolio that way over and over again every time you PCS. It's like a
Yeah.
cheat code. For like, if you know how to use it, it's a cheat code. It
Hmm.
really is zero down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then another little thing for you two is once you commission, you both have VA loan. So you can essentially combine your VA loan to say get a 5, 6, up to a 7-plex. So you can get
Mm.
up to 7 units, and you you can combine as many VA loans as you want. So if you find another buddy that wants to get in on it too, you can combine all three of your VA loans to buy a larger unit, multi-unit. The only problem with that is it all depends on the lender because once you go over 4 units, so if you do 5 or more units, that's commercial. So it's no longer just a regular residential loan. So it all depends on the lender whether or not they'll let you do that. But you can easily get up to 4 units by yourself using a VA loan because it's considered residential up to 4 units.
Yeah, that's parents were telling us like go for a duplex, go for a duplex, but it just worked out this way, and so maybe that'll be our next one. But yeah, that's what they were saying. It's like better to do that.
Yes, I would definitely suggest, like, if you want to continue doing this, shoot for the duplex, the triplex, the fourplex. Because now instead of just one person renting, you've got multiple people renting. So if one person doesn't pay, you still got other people paying.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anything else for me?
How is your experience with like having to move at like all around places and then having your different houses and managing that and like property management? How did you get started, or where would you suggest that we start looking for a good or like a good process to find a good manager?
So the easiest would be to Google and find out who is the top performing property manager in your local area. And usually it's a big company. And the thing with property management that people don't like is in the smaller units, like single family homes, they take a big chunk out of the rental income, usually 10%. So if you can always negotiate with them, but usually anywhere from 8 to 10% of the monthly rent they take. That's why you really have to do your numbers and make sure that the property cash flows well. And at the end of the day, when all the bills are paid, my criteria is I look for at least breaking 200 or 300 a month after everything else is paid. Mortgage, if I got pool cleaning, if I've got lawn maintenance. So after all that stuff is paid, I need to clear at least 300. If it doesn't, then the home isn't worth it for me. So I don't purchase it.
Okay. How do you calculate your numbers, like paper and pen, or do you like my dad uses some website and he helped us like
Bigger pockets.
bigger pockets, like figure out our numbers? How do you do yours?
Yes, I know Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets is definitely a huge hub for anyone trying to do real estate. So if you plan on doing this for a long time, definitely get on Bigger Pockets. It's free. But I think the calculator you have to pay for. But for me, usually I just use a regular calculator, or I use Excel, and or just paper and pen.
You like figure out your numbers.
Yep.
Hmm. Hi.
Oh, his head is gone. There you
Hi.
go.
He's getting so big.
I know. Say hi.
Oh my gosh, remember when he was just like in his little like strap that you had him in, little
Oh
baby?
yeah, doing colors.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So you two have anything else for me?
Do you have any advice for us going forward, or something that you like one of your failings, or things that you screwed up on, like want to suggest to people or to us?
I'd say the biggest problem you can run into is over leveraging. So trying to grow your portfolio too big too fast to the point where you can't really manage it, and you can't really ensure you fund it properly. So what I try to tell people all the time when they try to pursue this is for each property, try to have 3 to 6 months of reserve. After
Okay.
that, you can pocket the rest and not have to worry about it. But when you get it, you should be trying to build up your reserve to the point where you have 3 to 6 months worth. And if that's too much, usually the criteria I try to hit is 5,000 per door. So if I've got 4 properties, I've got, you know, 20,000 sitting in a, money market account just in case something goes down. I have to fix something or renter doesn't pay, anything like that. So definitely have liquid money that you can touch just in case anything goes down. And that's one of the big problems that you alluded to for people back in 2008. They they were able to scale up real fast by leveraging and getting a lot of debt, but they had nothing left in reserve to withstand, the crash and then renters not paying and things like that, people losing their jobs. So reserves, 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 and don't over leverage.
Yeah, that's what happened to my parents. They had too many properties, and then they didn't get rid of the properties that weren't cash flowing. And my dad was like, no, let's just try to save it and get passes. But they had so many that it didn't work. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's I've seen the struggle.
Yeah, I know it can get rough, but I definitely want to just tell you too, thank you for, taking the time to do this interview with me. Um, just recently graduated, joined the military 2 years in, and we have you finishing up your college, and then getting going through OCS and getting ready to fully commission into the military. And it's just awesome to see like the young generation taking that next step and getting a home because for some reason people find it scary, but when you look at all the, I guess you could say, wealthy people in the world, they gain their wealth through real estate. A majority of the time is through real estate because not everyone is going to be able to come up with the best next idea or the next, high tech toilet seat. So real estate is so easy and simple. So again, thanks a lot for sharing your story, and I hope this gets to you know everyone out there, especially the young generation, that hey, it's possible. Like it's not a scary process. You two went through it, no problem, and it looks like you kind of went through it head first. No real help, no one really holding your hands except the Navy Federal service member, but like you did it, and you've taken that first step, whereas many are going through life and they still haven't even purchased their first home yet.
Yeah.
So any last parting words you want to leave with the audience?
Like seek help if you still have questions, like to you, to us. Like my parents were a really big resource for us, and they really helped us. I would say like really push us, like you can do it. So if it's something that you are interested in, like seek out the information so that you can like just start that process.
That and I see a lot with I guess younger people our age is they get a real job and they see their bank account finally having money like that's greater than $1,000, and they think the bills are paid and I have this extra money. What do I do with it? I'm gonna get what I want. Rather, it's really hard to fight yourself and not like get stuff you need, and then maybe eventually treat yourself here and there. But the biggest thing is put money aside and invest in something. Invest in something that's going to be paying you back later on. So it could be not only just buying a house. I mean, if you're educated on the stocks, I have guys in the military, they all invest in stocks, but I don't encourage jumping into that. Definitely educate yourself, but look into something that is going to make you money later on.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, brother. You hit the nail on the head for sure on that one.
Yeah.